So every year, Linus Tech Tips, and I'm sure you're familiar with them, it's the channel of the guy that looks a little bit like that, publicly share their sources of income. So they release these pie charts that show what chunk of their income comes from what source. And you can see in this 2021 update that 18% of their income came from YouTube AdSense revenue. That is the third biggest chunk in this pie chart. And when they shared this, or when Linus actually himself shared this update, a lot of people replied and said, well, I'm using an ad blocker. I didn't know how much of your revenue actually comes from YouTube directly, so I feel a bit guilty now, blah, blah, blah. To which Linus replied, ad blocking is the exact same thing as piracy. Literally the exact same thing. People will still do it, and I've been guilty of it at times, but we just need to be aware of the impact. To which people then came back and said, well, I'm buying some merch regularly, and in return, I give myself the freedom of using an ad blocker because I funnel money in other ways to your direction. To which Linus then replied, like, how about Netflix, right? How about you go to Netflix and say, well, I'm not paying for my subscription, but I just bought a Netflix shirt, so that should cover me for a month or two. So you can see his argument there. And in this video, I want to break down to what extent his argument makes sense or is justified or is not justified. Now, I'm a content creator. Like, I enjoy my YouTube revenue that comes to me every month. It's not a lot, obviously, and I would be happy if it would be more because less people use an ad blocker. But the truth is, I'm using an ad blocker myself, okay? And I'm using an ad blocker because the internet has become infested with ads to the point where some websites and even YouTube videos can't even be watched or enjoyed anymore because it's just full with ads and pop-ups. Or this applies more to websites, but I'm watching a lot of debates on Destiny's website, right? And he's just, if I'm on my phone where I can't have an ad blocker, he's just infesting his videos with ads. Like every 5 minutes you get an ad, and it makes those debates, like these 2-hour-long debates, basically unwatchable. And it doesn't make much sense to me that these companies, whether it's YouTube or other people putting ads on their website to that extent, expect people to just accept that. They're like, no, sure, you can't use the website anymore. And sure, you can't watch this video because every 3 minutes you're getting an ad. But, the content creators gotta make money. So I don't think that an ad blocker is a form of piracy. What it is much more kind of an act of rebellion, right? It leverages a little bit more power back to the people where they can say, no, I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I want to have a clean website. Sure, I understand that in that moment the content creator doesn't make money, but it's a little bit like pirating a game that has a horrible DRM, right? It has a DRM that makes the game unplayable. It makes everything stutter. You're losing 50 FPS just because of that stupid DRM. Now, there's a developer who made a conscious decision to pay the price of 50 frames per second using that DRM. They couldn't come up with a better solution. Well, now I just have to accept that or what? Sure, I can say I don't buy the game, but I can also say I will just pirate the game, okay? Remove the DRM and play the game as it was supposed to be without these horrible decisions being imposed on it and compromising on my experience. So in a way, ad blockers ensure some kind of balance between the amounts of ads and the content, because if there would be too many ads, word would get around of ad blockers. More and more people would say, oh, these ads on YouTube are just so annoying recently. And then other people would recommend them, hey, why don't you use an ad blocker? And with that, YouTube would destroy their own business model. So because ad blockers exist, people have a button they can press to push back against this. If we would not have ad blockers, I promise you the internet would be unusable at this point because people's greed would take over and everyone would be like, yeah, sure, our website is already full with ads and we're already playing 15 ads per minute now. But what if we do it 17 ads per minute, because that would increase our revenue by 20% and I can buy that yacht that I really want. So sure, ad blockers are removing effectively revenue from creators, but at the same time, they're an incredibly powerful and important tool to keep that balance between the amounts of ads and the content. Beyond that, I'm also happy that I'm using an ad blocker for security reasons. Like, it's a security tool. Within those ads, there are so many scams, viruses, and malware, and in part, that's because YouTube doesn't filter their ads properly, unlike the content, right? It's like, oh, someone said some swear word in their video, let's demonetize the whole channel. But when you have like highly erotic and suggestive content in ads, it's like, no, this is fine, wave it through, right? They're paying the bills. I see no problem here. So there's also this wrong balance between how they filter their ads and what they allow as ads and how sensitive they are to filtering their content. And beyond that, there are just so many points to be made about the ads on YouTube themselves. Because, I grew up with TV in the 90s, okay? We had ad breaks all the time, but those were ads for big brands. They were well produced. Some of them were maybe funny. You had a diversity of ads. If you look at the ads on YouTube, right, they're just obnoxious. They're intrusive. And they're often just plain misleading, okay? They're like, well, if you buy this, you get 2 free. You go to the website. It's actually not like that at all. You're just signing up to the 3-year subscription program and you get like 1 month for free or whatever it is. So again, there's no filter from YouTube of saying, oh, hold on, this is actually misleading. This shouldn't be advertised. It seems like they're just waving it all through. And then they keep showing you the same ad. It's like, yeah, there's this one ad for this week now, and it's about getting food delivered. So every time you get a break on YouTube, it's like food delivery, food delivery, food. It's like, bro, I've seen this ad 200 times. I have decided at the first time that I don't care. So please let me block this ad and tell you that I don't want it. Like I can do it on Twitter, for example. If ads pop up on Twitter, I can say block this account. And then it's Twitter's responsibility to find something that hopefully is a little bit more relevant to me. But let's be honest, I have never seen an ad on YouTube that was relevant to me. Never. All it seems to be is like badly produced, really sketchy ads that also get increasingly unskippable. Have you noticed that? Like now it's like 2 ads and one of them is not unskippable. It seems to be different in like different geographic regions, how many ads you get and how they are unskippable. But here in London, in the UK, you get increasingly more unskippable ads that promote really sketchy things. Also, did you notice that ads always load quicker than the actual content? You're in the middle of nowhere and you want to watch a YouTube video on your terrible 3G connection and the video doesn't load, but the ad's snappy as hell, man. It's right there. 2 ads. You can't skip them. And then the content doesn't even load. So there are so many issues and so many things that need to be criticized with the ad system that YouTube and Google established before you should say, well, using an ad blocker, that's just piracy. It's a much more complex issue, and there are many more aspects to it that you need to highlight before saying something like this. Also, I just find it incredibly ironic that a channel like Linus Tech Tips, which surely makes millions of revenue with merch and sponsors and their YouTube revenue on top, and they criticize ad blockers. Okay, if it would be a small channel like me or other small content creators who can barely survive off their YouTube income, and they would beg their fans to not use an ad blocker, okay, I can kind of see that. But companies like Linus Tech Tips, they are shoveling crazy money, okay? And now they're calling for more. And it's just a bit of a dick move. I'm not gonna lie. I like Linus Tech Tips. I enjoy the content they're making. It's very informative. I've learned a lot of stuff on that channel. But if you put out a narrative like that, it's not anymore that you're basically saying, look, you know, we create good content, which you do, and now we want to be appropriately compensated for that, which is a totally fair expectation to a platform like YouTube. But if you're already making plenty of cash, and you're running this huge company and you're making extra profits, but it's still not enough, you're just coming across as greedy, right? You're coming across as a greedy a-hole. That's what it is. And if you want to be really consequent in that decision and say, we don't want anyone to watch our content who blocks ads, well, then put it behind a paywall. Okay, then be consequent about it. Then remove yourself from YouTube, make your own platform. I mean, they're already working on Floatplane or whatever. Put it all on Floatplane, only there, and now it's all behind a paywall. And if you don't pay your Netflix subscription, I mean, the LTT subscription in this context, you're not getting the content. But companies like Linus Tech Tips, they want to benefit from both, right? They want to benefit from the reach that you get on YouTube, the incredible numbers that YouTube generates them. But at the same time, they also don't want people to use ad blockers. So it's like, no, this is unfair. But we also want to be on. And it's just, it starts to become a narrative that's really convoluted and messy and makes you look like a greedy twat, man. Because instead of going back to the root of the problem, you're just trying to judge people for using ad blockers kind of as a leverage to leverage power back to the people. If you want to make a big difference, what you should be criticizing is YouTube's and Google's ad system. Make ads less intrusive. Make ads more relevant. Make them more fun to watch. Make them more diverse. Show different types of ads. Make them more engaging. Make them more safe. Overhaul the ad system rather than criticizing people who say, well, this sucks, man. It makes this website unusable. It really sucks, so screw that. Also, YouTube existed long before ad revenues were a thing. Okay, and it was great. It was a great platform. People used to make the content for the fun of it and for generating the community and getting the reach. I'm not saying, you're so hypocritical. Your videos are monetized, right? So why don't you just do it for fun? Well, to be honest, I'm making so little money on this platform that I am actually doing it for fun. That's what I'm doing here. I'm enjoying making the content. I enjoy engaging with the people out there, having fun on the platform. I'm not here to make $1 million grand or whatever. That has never been the ambition of this channel. And it just feels so hypocritical when a platform, a channel like Linus Tech Tips comes forward and says, well, I made 3 million in profit this year, me personally, but it could have been 5. So why don't all you idiots stop using an ad blocker so I can buy 4 houses that I can then rent out instead of just 3 houses that I could buy last year? It's just unfair. So I feel there is a debate to have had, okay, whether ad blockers are okay, but it's not a debate that should be started by a channel like Linus Tech Tips, okay, because they are in a position that is probably making up like the top 2% of YouTube content creators. If this would be a big debate amongst all the small content creators and there would be like a big hashtag floating around that promotes fairer ad revenue and YouTube actually blocking ad block users and blah, 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 and there would be a movement of smaller content creators, it's a slightly different debate. But I think it's the context of who rose the points that really gives it like a sour taste, at least in my mind. So anyway, guys, these were my thoughts. I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts on the topic. Are you actually using an ad blocker? Do you think it's fair? Do you sometimes feel bad when you go to a website or to a YouTube channel like this one, for example, and you're ad blocking the ads and like someone like me puts so much blood, sweat, and tears into this video? And then you're just blocking the ads and not giving me my 20 cents. No, you don't get that much per ad. So leave all your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'd appreciate them. And even, you know, like I said in the beginning, I'm using an ad blocker. You know, I'm one of you guys. I don't judge anyone for using technology like that. So feel free to just share your thoughts openly down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then please don't forget to smash the like button. I would very much appreciate that. It helps the channel out. You can also subscribe. Hit the little bell so you're not missing future uploads, because that's how this platform works. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you hanging out on the channel. Take care of yourselves, and I'm out. Bye.